Hello, Falcha. We are doing another Táin episode. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been able to record one, so apologies for the break in service. I did say when I started that these would be as and when I can get to them, and it's just been so busy through January and February. Now we're in mid-February as I record this. So if you're watching this later, no break in service, awesome. Just watching it through the playlist. If you're joining us in the middle of it, please go back to the start. We are doing episode 7B currently, which is a bit of a long one, so I'm going to just, bull through it. Pun, sorry. Also Taurian pun, because, that's me, funnily enough. Bulls have featured strongly my entire life. So anyway, we are going to do episode 7B, the taking of arms by Cuchulain and the slaying of the three sons of Necht Scenè is now told here. The little lad performed a third deed in the following year, said Fechu, son of Feriba. What deed performed he? Asked Alil. Cathfa the Druid was with his son, namely Concor, son of Ness, imparting learning to his pupils in the northeast of Awan, and 8 eager pupils in the class of Druidic cunning were with him. That is the number that Cathfa instructed. One of them questioned his teacher. That's interesting, actually. I had completely forgotten that there are 8 eager pupils in the class of Druidic cunning. So maybe I should limit my my small run personal mentor stuff to 8 cunning pupils. So that is the number that Cathfa instructed. One of them questioned his teacher what fortune and presage might there be for the day they were in, whether it was good or whether it was ill. Then spoke Cathfa. The little boy that takes arms this day shall be splendid and renowned for deeds of arms above the youths of Erin land. The tales of his high deeds shall be told forever, but he shall be short-lived and fleeting. Cuchulain overheard what he said, though far off at his playfeats southwest of Awan, and he threw away all his playthings and hastened to Concor's sleeping room to ask for arms. All good attend thee, O King of the Fenja, cried the little lad. This greeting is the speech of one soliciting something of someone. What wouldst thou, lad? Said Concor. To take arms, the lad made answer. Who hath advised thee, little boy? Asked Concor. Cathfa the Druid, said the lad. He would not deceive thee, little boy, said Concor. Concor gave him 2 spears and a sword and a shield. The little boy shook and brandished the arms in the middle of the house so that he made small pieces and fragments of them. Concor gave him 2 other spears and a shield and a sword. He shook and brandished, flourished and poised them so that he shivered them into small pieces and fragments. This fucker just destroys everything around him, doesn't he? There where were the 14 suits of arms which Concor had in Awan, in reserve in case of breaking of weapons or for equipping the youths and the boys, to the end that whatever boy assumed arms, it might be Concor that gave him the equipment of battle, and the victory of cunning would be his thenceforth. Even so, this little boy made splinters and fragments of them all. So he's broken through 14 suits of arms, so 14 sets of weapons, basically. And he's destroyed every last one of them. Truly these arms here are not good, O Concor, my master, the stripling cried. Herefrom cometh not what is worthy of me. Concor gave him his own 2 spears and his shield and his sword. He shook and he brandished, he bent and he poised them so that the tip touched butt of the spear, and he broke not the arms, and they bore up against him, and he saluted the king whose arms they were. Truly, these arms are good, said the little boy. They are suited to me. Hail to the king whose arms and equipment these are. Hail to the land whereout he is come. Then Cathfa the Druid chanced to come into the tent, and what he said was, Hath he yonder taken arms? Cathfa asked. Aye. Then it must be, Concor answered. Not by his mother's son would I wish them to be taken this day, said Cathfa. How so? Was it not thyself advised him? Concor asked. Not I, in faith, replied Cathfa. What meanest thou, bewitched elf-man, said Concord to Cuchulain. Is it a lie that thou hast told us? But be not wroth thereat, O my master Concord. Oh my God, Joseph Dunn, wherefore and thou and all this bullshit. Sorry. I get a little bit frustrated with this translation. I do like it. If I'm reading it in a book, I do read Thomas Kinsella's, but you know, that's in copyright, so I'm not going to be reading that on the internet. But if you're looking for a physical paper book to grab a hold of, definitely check out Thomas Kinsella's translation of the Táin, and there's not as much of this kind of thou and bewitchment and all the rest of it. Now, what meanest thou, bewitched elf-man? Elf-man, this is a reference to Cuchulain being of the other world, or at least half of the other world. So don't be angry with me, basically, is what Cuchulain is saying here. No lie have I told, for yet is it he that advised me when he taught his other pupils this morning. For his pupil asked him what luck might lie in the day, and he said, the youth that took arms on this day would be illustrious and famous, except that he would be fleeting and short-lived. That I avow to be true, spake Cathfa. Good indeed is the day, glorious and renowned shalt thou be, the one that taketh arms, yet passing and short-lived. Noble the gift, cried Cuchulain. Little it recks me, though I should be but one day and one night in the world, if only the fame of me and my deeds live after me. Now, we do not have the time to break down the problematic nature of Cuchulain's, live fast and die young bullshit, and the amount of toxicity that kind of attitude engenders and illustrates and, is a proponent of. So we are going to move on with that, but, just noted. Another day, one of them asked the Druids for what that day would be propitious. The one that mounts a chariot today, Cathfa answered, his name will be renowned over Éireann forever. He mounted the chariot. Because of course he did. He put his hands between the two poles of the chariot, and the first chariot he mounted withal, he shook and tossed about him till he reduced it to splinters and fragments. He mounted the second chariot, so that he made small pieces and fragments of it in like manner. Further, he made pieces of the third chariot. There were the 17 chariots which Concord kept for the boy troop and youths in Owen. The lad made small pieces and fragments of them, and they did not withstand him. These chariots here are not good, O my master Concord, said the little boy. My merit cometh not from them. Where is Ibar, son of Riangavar? Asked Concord. Here in sooth am I, Ibar answered. Take with thee mine own 2 steeds for him yonder, and yoke my chariot. Thereupon the charioteer took the horses and yoked the chariot. Then the little boy mounted the chariot. He shook the chariot about him, and it withstood him, and he broke it not. Truly this chariot is good, cried the lad, and this chariot is suited to me. Prithee, little boy, said Ibar, come out of the chariot now, and let the horses out on their pasture. It is yet too soon, O Ibar, the lad answered. Only let us go in a circuit of Owen today, and thou shalt have a reward therefor, today being my first day of taking arms, to the end that it be a victory of cunning for me. Thrice they made the circuit of Owen. Leave the horses now to their grazing, O little boy, said Ibar. It is yet too soon, O Ibar, the little lad answered. Let us keep on, that the boys may give me a blessing today, the first day of my taking arms. They kept their course to the place where the boys were. Is it arms he yonder has taken? Each one asked. Of a truth are they. May it be for victory, for first wounding and triumph. But we deem it too soon for thee to take arms, because thou departest from us at the game feasts. By no means will I leave ye, but for luck I took arms this day. Don't like where this is going with the horses now, but we'll continue. Now, little boy, leave the horses to their grazing, said Ibar. It is still too soon for that, O Ibar, the lad answered. And this great road winding by us, what way leads it? The lad asked. What is that to thee? Ibar answered. But thou art a pleasant wight, I bow, little lad, quoth Ibar. I wish, fellow, to inquire about the high road of the province, what stretch it goes. To Ath Naforera, the ford of watching, in Sliabh Fuath it goes, Ibar answered. Wherefore is it called the ford of watching, knowest thou? So just in case anybody needs translation, he's basically pushing the horses. He's gone three times around the circuit of the royal court. The charioteer keeps telling them to leave the horses to their grazing, and he's saying, no, I need to go and go to the boy troop, and that they need to give me a blessing. And the boy troop are like, are we going to lose you? And he's saying, nah, it's only because, I just wanted to take arms this day because it's good luck. It's not good luck, but, in his worldview, it was good luck. So Ibar's like, leave the horses to their grazing again. And now he's questioning about this great road that's coming out. So it goes to the ford of the watching. Yeah, I know it well, Ibar made answer. A stout warrior of Ulster is on watch and on guard there every day, so that there come no strange youths into Ulster to challenge them to battle. And he is a champion to give battle in behalf of the whole province. Likewise, if men of song leave the Ulstermen and the province in dudgeon, he is there to suit them by preferring treasures and valuables, and so to save the honour of the province. That's an interesting one. So men of song would be bards or bards basically, or filla, where they would be leaving in a bad mood. So he's there to check on that and pay them off basically, with patronage, try and soothe and to save the honour of the province so that nobody is going to write a bad satire. So I wonder now if that happens regularly on the road out of Ulster, excuse me, where people are leaving in bad moods. And just pause so that I can take a drink, okay? Excuse me. Proof once again that Lora O'Brien does not edit her YouTube videos and probably never will. So apologies for that little interlude. So where were we? Holy crap, where's it gone? Yeah, so he's guarding, yeah. So he's offering them treasures and valuables if they leave. And again, if men of song enter the land, he is the man that is their surety that they win the favour of Concourse, so that songs and lays made for him will be the first to be sung after their arrival in Owen. So he's basically, he's a fluffer for bards and filla who come in, and he's telling them, all the great stuff about Concourse, so that the first song to be sung is about the king. It's a pretty intense PR machine that they have going on here, for the day. So knowest thou who is at the ford today? Yeah, I know, Ibar answered. Conall Cernach the triumphant, the heroic, warlike son of Amergin, royal champion of Erin, Ibar answered. Thither guide us, fellow, that so we reach the ford. Onwards they drove into sight of the ford, where was Conall. Are those arms he yonder has taken? Asked Conall. Of a truth are they, Ibar made answer. May it be for victory and for triumph and for first wounding, said Conall. But we think it too soon for thee to take arms, because thou art not yet capable of deeds. Were it surety he needed, he that should come hither, he continued, so wouldst thou furnish a perfect warrant amongst the Ulstermen, and the nobles of the province would rise up to support thee in the contest. What cost thou here, O Conall, my master? Asked the lad. Watch and ward of the province, lad, I keep here, Conall made answer. Do thou go home now, O Master Connell, said the lad, and leave me the watch and guard of the province to keep here. Say not so, little son, replied Connell. Thou art not yet able to cope with a goodly warrior. Then will I keep on to the south, said the little boy, to Firthas, the bank of Loch Echthran, for a while. Champions are wont to take a stand there. Perchance I may redden my hands on friend or on foe this day. I will go, little boy, said Connell, to save thee, that thou go not alone into peril on the border. Not so, said the lad. But I will go, said Connell, for the men of Ulster will blame me for leaving thee to go alone on the border. So basically he's saying to Connell Kernock, who's doing his job at this particular point on the road at the ford, that if you don't leave me to go here, then I'm going to go and, put myself in danger. Now, Cuchulain swearing that he's not in danger, or saying that he's not in danger. Connell doesn't believe that. So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, if you like. So Connell's horses were caught for him, and his chariot was yoked, and he set out to protect the little boy. When Connell came up abreast of him, Cuchulain felt certain that, even though a chance came to him, Connell would not permit him to use it. He picked up a handstone from the ground, which was the full of his grasp. He hurled it from him, from his sling, the length of a stone shot, at the yoke of Connell's chariot, so that he broke the chariot collar in two, and thereby Connell fell to the ground, so that the nape of his neck went out from his shoulder. So he broke his collarbone. What have we here, boy? Said Connell. Why threwest thou that stone? It is I threw it to see if my cast be straight, or how I cast at all, for if I have the stuff of a warrior in me. So he's lying to Connell now as well. A bane on thy cast, and a bane on thyself as well. E'en though thou leavest thy head this time with thy enemies, I will go no further to protect thee. 'Twas what I craved of thee, answered he, for it is gesh amongst you men of Ulster to proceed after a mishap has befallen your chariots. Connell turned back northwards again to the ford of Watching. So Connell has had to go with him. He's had to leave his post because Cuchulain is determined to put himself into danger. When Cuchulain is thinking that when they get there, Connell Kernock is not going to let him have his way, right? If he has a chance, Connell won't permit him to use it. So he's not going to let him get into battle. He's going to step in front of him or get in his way, right? And he cast this stone, knowing that there's a gesh on, interesting, you men of Ulster. So he's already kind of disassociated himself from the men of Ulster. He's not obviously a man at this stage, but there is also the element to Cuchulain that he has the otherworldly stuff going on. So he's not quite a man of Ulster, even when he becomes a man. Well, he doesn't really become a man, but well, he does. He does for the time that's in it, but not by our standards, 18, 21 kind of thing. So, so Connell basically has to go back to his post and leave him be. As for the little boy, he fared southwards to Firthas Loch Echthran. He remained there till the end of the day, and they found no one there before them. If we dare tell thee, little boy, spoke Ibar, it were time for us to return to Owen now, for dealing and carving and dispensing of food is long since begun in Owen, and there is a place assigned for thee there. Every day it is appointed thee to sit between Concour's feet, while for me there is naught but to tarry among the hostlers and tumblers of Concour's household. For that reason, methinks it is time to have a scramble among them. Fetch then the horses for us. The charioteer fetched the horses, and the lad mounted the chariot. But, O Ibar, what hill is that there now, the hill to the north? The lad asked. Now, that is Slieve Modorn, Ibar answered. Let us go and get there, said Cuchulain. Then they go on till they reach it. When they reached the mountain, Slieve is mountain, Cuchulain asked, and what is that white cairn yonder at the height of the mountain? And that is Fin Cairn, the white cairn of Sliabh Modurn, Ibar answered. Why do I keep saying asked instead of answered? But yonder cairn is beautiful, exclaimed the lad. It surely is beautiful, Ibar answered. Lead on, fellow, till we reach yonder cairn. Well, but thou art both a pleasant and tedious inquisitor, I see, exclaimed Ibar. But this is my first journey and my first time with thee. It shall be my last time till the very end of doom, if once I get back to Owen. So he's leading Ibar. Ibar wants to go back and get his dinner, basically, and Cuchulain has a place in the hall now, and he has responsibilities there, but he's saying, no, we go on. And Ibar is saying, right, this is my first journey out with you, but it's going to be the last time now if I ever get back to Owen. Howbeit they went to the top of the hill. It is pleasant here, O Ibar, the little boy exclaimed. Point out to me Ulster on every side, for I am nowise acquainted with the land of my master Concord. The horseman pointed him out Ulster all around him. He pointed him out the hills and the fields and the mounts of the province on every side. He pointed him out the plains and the dunes and the strongholds of the province. "'Tis a goodly sight, O Ibar," exclaimed the little lad. What is that indented, angular, bordered and glenny plain to the south of us? Macbrec, replied Ibar. Tell thou to me the buildings and forts of that plain. The Gilla, Gilla is, it's in modern Irish, it'd be Giolla. It's here Gilla. It means servant, basically. We still have it surviving in the Irish language with gilly, who would be, it's a fairly old-fashioned term for somebody who runs the game on a big estate. Little piece of aside Irish culture there. So the Gela taught him the name of every chief dún between Tábhar and Ciananas, Tábhar and Talchu, Clechach and Canoba, and Brew, the fort of Mac Oak. That's Tara, by the way. And that brew of Mac Oak would be Brunaboyne as well. So he's pointing out the landmarks, basically. He pointed out to him then that the dún of the three sons of Necht Scenè, the fierce. Fuil and Fondal and Tuachal, their names. Fer Uli, son of Lua, was their father. Necht, from the mouth of the Skein, was their mother. Scenè. Would that be Scenè? I'm not 100% sure. So we'll go with Skein. Now that the Ulstermen had slain their father, it was for that reason that they were at war with Ulster. And are those not Necht's sons that boast that not more of the Ulstermen are alive than have fallen at their hands? The same, in sooth, answered the Gilla. On with us to the dún of the Mac Nechtha, cried the little boy. Alas, in truth, that thou sayest so, quoth Ibar. 'Tis a peril for us. Truly, not to avoid it do we go, answered Cuchulain. We know it is an act of great folly for us to say so, but whoever may go, said Ibar, it will not be myself. Living or dead, go there thou shalt, the little boy cried. 'Tis alive I shall go to the south, answered Ibar, and dead I shall be left at the dún. I know, even at the dún of Mac Nechtha. So he's predicting his doom. Cuchulain is threatening his very life if he doesn't bring him out to this dún of the mortal enemies of Ulster. They push on to the dún, and the little boy sprang out of the chariot onto the green. Thus was the green of the dún, with a pillar stone upon it, and an iron band around that, and a band for prowess it was, and there was a writing in Ogham at its joint, and that is the writing it bore. Whoever should come to the green, if he be a champion, it is gesh for him to depart from the green without giving challenge to single combat. So here we see another example of the Ogham written as basically as a spell challenge upon the stone that's in the middle of this green outside the dún, which is a fort, basically. The lad deciphered the writing and put his two arms around the pillar stone. Just as the pillar stone was with its ring, he flung it with a cast of his hand into the moat, so that a wave passed over it. Methinks, spake Ibar, it is no better now than to be where it was, and we know thou shalt not get on this green the thing thou desires, even the token of death, yea, of doom and destruction. Good, O Ibar, spread the chariot coverings and its skins for me, that I may snatch a little sleep. Woe is me that thou sayest so, answered the Gilla, for a foeman's land is this, and not a green for diversion. The Gilla arranged the chariot coverings and its skins under Cuchulain, and the lad fell asleep on the green. Then came one of the Necht onto the fair green, to wit, Fuil, son of Necht. Unyoke not the horses, Gilla, cried Fuil. I am not fain to at all, answered Ibar. The reins and the lines are still in my hand. Whose horses are those then? Fuil asked. 2 of Concor's horses, answered the Gilla, and 2 of the dappled heads. That is the knowledge I have of them, and that hath brought these steeds here to the borders. A tender youth that has assumed arms among us today for luck and good omen, the horseboy answered, is come to the edge of the marshes to display his comeliness. May it not be for victory nor for triumph, his first taking of arms, exclaimed Fuil. If I knew he was fit for deeds, it is dead he should go back northwards to Owen, and not alive. In good sooth, he is not fit for deeds, Ibar answered. It is by no means right to say it of him. It is the 7th year since he was taken from the crib. So the lads are talking and saying basically, Ibar is trying to downplay this, this cocky kind of strutting that this young boy has come to display his comeliness, and Fuil is saying, like, if he was a man, then if he was fit for deeds, then I'd be sending him home in a box. But Ibar's like, well, he's not, because he's only 7 years old, right? The little lad raised his face from the ground and drew his hand over his face, and he became as one crimson wheel ball from his crown to the ground. Aye, but I am fit for deeds, the lad cried. That pleaseth me well, said the champion, but more like than what thou sayest, me seemeth, thou art not fit for deeds. Thou wilt know that better if we go to the fort. But go fetch thy weapons, for I see it is in the guise of a churl thou art come, and I slay not, nor charioteers, nor grooms, nor folk without arms. So again, he's throwing shade, talking shit, trying to get a rise out of this grown man warrior, right? So the man went a pace after his arms. Now thou shouldst have a care for us against yonder man that comes to meet thee, little lad, said Ibar. And why so? Asked the lad. Fuil, son of Necht, is the man thou seest. Neither points nor edges of weapons can harm him. Not before me shouldst thou say that, O Ibar, quoth the lad. I will put my hand to that lathe trick for him, namely, to the apple of twice melted iron, and it will light upon the disc of his shield and on the flat of his forehead, and it will carry away the size of an apple of his brain out through the back of his head, so that it will make a sieve hole outside of his head till the light of the sky will be visible through his head. So we're going to, right, so the info that he has is that points or edges of weapons can't harm him. So Cuchulain's plan then is to make a ball of iron, basically, or to use a ball of iron and to throw it at him, and to make this giant hole that the sky will be visible through his head. Fuil, son of Necht, came forth. Cuchulain took the lathe trick in hand for him, and threw it from him the length of his cast, so that it lighted on the flat of his shield and on the front of his forehead, and carried away the bulk of an apple of his brain out through the back of his head, so that it made a sieve hole thereof outside of his head, till the light of the sky might be seen through his head. He went to him then, and struck off the head from the trunk. Thereafter he bore away his spoils and his head with him. Then came the second son out to the green, his name Tuachal, the cunning, son of Necht. Aha, I see thou wouldst boast of this deed, quoth Tuachal, because he took the head. So he's copping on that he's going to like bring the head back, I think. In the first place, I deem it no cause to boast for slaying one champion, said Cuchulain. Thou shalt not boast of it this time, for thou shalt fall by my hand. Off with thee for thine arms then, for 'tis not a warrior thou art come. 'Tis not as a warrior thou art come. The man rushed after his arms. Obviously, these lads are just going around completely unprepared for battle. But it does give a convenient time for Ibar to give the download for how to best kill them. So he's gone for his arms, and thou shouldst have a care for us against yon man, lad, said Ibar. How so? The lad asked. Tuachal, son of Necht, is the man thou beholdest, and he is nowise misnamed, for he falls not by arms at all. Unless thou worstest him with the first blow, or with the first shot, or with the first touch, thou wilt not worst him ever, because of his craftiness and the skill wherewith he plays around the points of the weapons. That should not be said before me, O Ibar, cried the lad. I will put my hand on Concor's well-tempered lance, on the Crashok Neve, the venomous lance. I will light on the shield over his belly, and it will crush through his ribs on the further side after piercing his heart in his breast. That would be the smiting cast of an enemy, and not the friendliness of a fellow countryman. From me he shall not get sick nursing or care till the brink of doom. Tuachal, son of Necht, came forth on the green, and the lad laid his hand on Concor's lance against him, and it struck the shield above his belly and broke through the ribs on the further side after piercing his heart within his breast. He struck off his head or ever it reached the ground. Then came the youngest of the sons forth on the green, namely Fondal, son of Necht. Fools were the folk who fought with thee here, cried Fondal. That's a bit harsh on your brothers there, Fondal. How now, cried the lad. Come down to the pool where thy foot findeth not the bottom. Fondal rushed on to the pool. Thou shouldst be wary of us, for us, of him, little boy, said Ibar. Why should I then? asked the lad. Fondal, son of Necht, is the man whom thou seest. For this he bears the name Fondal the Swallow. Like a swallow or weasel he courseth the sea. The swimmers of the world cannot reach him. Thou shouldst not speak thus before me, O Ibar, said the lad. Thou knowest the river that is in our land, in Owen, in the Colin. When the boys frequent it with their games of sport, and when the water is not beneath them, if the surface is not reached by them all, I do carry a boy over it on either of my palms, and a boy on either of my shoulders, and I myself do not even wet my ankles under the weight of them. So he's walking on water at this point. Okay. Thereupon Cuchulain went into the dune and pillaged the place, and oh no, wait, sorry, I skipped one. They met upon the water, and they engaged in wrestling upon it. The little boy closed his arms over Fondal, so that the sea came up even with him, and he gave him a deft blow with Concor's sword, and chopped off his head from the trunk, and left the body to go down with the stream, and he carried off the head and the spoils with him. Thereupon Cuchulain went into the dune and pillaged the place and burned it so that its buildings were no higher than its walls. And they turned on the way to Sliabh Fuath and carried the 3 heads of Necht's sons with them. When they came to Sliabh Fuath, they espied a herd of wild deer before them. What are those many cattle, O Ibar, those nimble ones yonder? Asked the lad. Are they tame, or are they other deer? They are real wild deer indeed, Ibar answered. Herds of wild deer that haunt the wastes of Sliabh Fuath. Ply the goad for us on the horses into the bog, so to see can we take some of them. The charioteer drove a goad into the horses. It was beyond the power of the king's overfat steeds to keep up with the deer. The lad got down from the chariot, and as the fruit of his run and his race, in the morass which was around him, he caught 2 of the swift, stout deer. He fastened them to the back poles and the bows and the thongs of the chariot. So he's after going into the bog and catching these wild deer. So they continued their way to the mound seat of Awan, where they saw flocks of white swans flying by them. What are those birds there, O Ibar? The lad asked. Are yonder birds tame, or are they other birds? Indeed, they are real wild birds, Ibar answered. Flocks of swans are they that come from the rocks and crags and islands of the great sea without, to feed on the plains and smooth spots of Erin. Which would be the stranger to the Ulsterman, O Ibar, for them to be fetched alive to Awan or dead? Asked the lad. Stranger far, alive, Ibar answered, for not everyone succeeds in taking the birds alive, while they are many that take them dead. Then did the lad perform one of his lesser feats upon them. He put a small stone in his sling, so that he brought down 8 of the birds. Excuse me. And then he performed a greater feat. He threw a large stone at them, and he brought down 16 of their number. With his return stroke, all that was done. He fastened them to the hind poles and the bows and the thongs and the ropes and the traces of the chariot. Take the birds along with thee, Ibar, cried the lad to his charioteer. I am in sore straits, answered Ibar. I find it not easy to go. What may it be? Asked the lad. Great cause have I. The horses have become wild, so that I cannot go by them. If I stir at all from where I am, the chariot's iron wheels will cut me down because of their sharpness and because of the strength and the power and the might of the career of the horses. If I make any more, and the horns of the deer will pierce, if I make any move, the horns of the deer will pierce and gore me. No true champion art thou any longer, O Ibar, said the lad. Because of the look I shall give at the horses, they will not depart from the straight way. And at the look I shall give at the deer, they will bend their heads in fear and awe of me. They will not dare move, and it will be safe for thee, e'en though thou goest in front of their horns. Thereupon they went on till they reached the fair plain of Awan. It was then that Lebercam, the watch in Awan Macha, came forth and discerned them, she the daughter of Aw, ear, and of Arc, horn. A single chariot fighter is here, coming towards Awan Macha, cried Lebercam, and his coming is fearful. The heads of his foes all red in his chariot with him. Beautiful all white birds he has hovering around in the chariot. With him are the wild, untamed deer, bound and fettered, shackled and pinioned. And I give my word, if he be not attended to this night, brood will flow over Concor's province by him, and the youths of Ulster will fall by his hand. We know him, that chariot fighter, spake Concor. Belike it is the little Gilla, my sister's son, who went to the edge of the marches at the beginning of the day, who has reddened his hands and is still unsated of combat, and unless he be attended to, all of the youths of Awan will fall by his hand. And this was the counsel they agreed to follow, to let out the women folk to meet the youth, namely thrice 50 women, even 10 and 70 bold, stark naked women, at one and the same time, and their chieftainess, Sconloch the wanton, before them, to discover their persons and their shame to him. Thereupon the young women all rose and marched out, and they discovered their nakedness and all their shame to him. The lad hid his face from them and turned his gaze on the chariot, that he might not see the nakedness or the shame of the women. Then the lad was lifted out of the chariot. He was placed in 3 vats of cold water to extinguish his wrath, and the first vat into which he was put burst its staves and its hoops, like the cracking of nuts around him. The next vat into which he went boiled with bubbles as big as fists therefrom. The third vat into which he went, some men might endure it and others might not. Then the boy's wrath went down. Thereupon he came out, and his festive garments were put on him. His comeliness appeared on him, and he made a crimson wheel ball of himself from his crown to the ground. 7 toes he had to each of his 2 feet, and 7 fingers to each of his 2 hands, and 7 pupils to each of his 2 kingly eyes, and 7 gems of the brilliance of the eye was each separate pupil. 4 spots of down on either of his 2 cheeks, a blue spot, a purple spot, a green spot, a yellow spot. 50 strands of bright yellow hair from one ear to the other, like to a comb of birch twigs, or like to a brooch of pale gold in the face of the sun. A clear white shorn spot was upon him, as if a cow had licked it. A fair laced green mantle about him, a silver pin therein over his white breast, a hooded tunic of thread of gold about him. And the lad was seated between the 2 feet of Concord, and that was his couch ever after, and the king began to stroke his close shorn hair. A mere lad accomplished these deeds at the end of 7 years after his birth, continued Fiacu, son of Firva. For he overcame heroes and battle champions, at whose hands 2/3 of the men of Ulster had fallen, and these had not got the revenge on them until that scion rose up for them. No need then is there of wonder or of surprise, though he came to the border, though he slew 1 man or 2 men or 3 men or 4 men, when now are fulfilled his 17 years at the time of the Táin Bó Cúailnge. Albeit gladness, joy, and happiness was the part of the men of Ulster for that, sorrow, grief, and unhappiness was the part of the men of Erin, for they knew that the little lad that had done these deeds at the time of his boyhood, it would be no wonder if he should do great deeds of valour in the time of his manhood. So I guess they are classing him as a man at 17 years. These accordingly are some of the youthful exploits of Cuchulain on the raid for the Kine of Cúailnge, and the prologue of the tale, and the names of the roads and the march of the host up to this point. The story proper is this which follows now. And there you go. So make sure that you have checked out the rest of this playlist, because there's a lot more videos here. We're on 7B now, but there's been multiple kind of sections on some of the videos as well. And this one's a little longer, so thanks for sticking with me to the end. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when I do get around to making the next one. Okay? Slán go fóill, and I will see you in the next video.